Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad you could join me. Hey, Rev, it's been a while. Indeed, indeed. Thanks for joining me today on Tax Day. Tax Day, April 15th. What a morning. I'm a little frazzled. Although, how is that different from any other day, right? How is that different from any other day? But anyway, we got a good show for you today. I want to talk about taxes and kind of, I don't know, I don't even think it's a conspiracy. But I'm glad we got some people here live in the chat. I just want to double check. Make sure I seem to be live. Mute the tab. All that stuff, because it's good to know. It's good to know that we're live. Well, hang on. Streaming. Yeah, I think yeah, there we are. We're live. Awesome. I just always like to double check. I hate getting through get through the monologue and then turn around and nobody's there. So anyway, I'm glad you all are here. Let's get started. Oh, it is good to be back. Good to be back. Now, today, I want to talk about a little something I'd like to call the system. You know, that big lumbering beast that governs our lives, but seems to evade any real accountability? Yeah, that one. Now, here's the thing about systems, folks. They're like that old recliner in your grandma's living room. Sure, it's comfortable, but if you look underneath, you'll find a mess of springs, dust, and who knows else you'll find under there. But just like that recliner, our system has flaws. Big, glaring flaws. Now, take our tax system, for example, on this tax day. Ah, yes, good old IRS. The agency that takes your perhaps hard-earned money and sends you a letter explaining why you still owe them more. It's like a bad breakup. It never ends. But here's the kicker, folks. Have you ever tried reading the instructions for filing your taxes? It's like deciphering hieroglyphics, and that's after a night of heavy drinking. Ambiguous, misleading, and just downright confusing. Now, some might say, well, maybe there's just maybe they just need to update the instructions. But here's the rub, folks. Those instructions have been the same for decades. Decades. If something stays broken for that long, you start to wonder if maybe, just maybe, it's not a bug, it's a feature. That's right, if the system is designed in a way that's confusing, convoluted, and downright unfair, and yet nothing changes to fix it, well, you do the math, because I sure as hell can't, especially with those tax forms. So next time you're scratching your head over your tax return, just remember, it's not you, it's a system. Maybe, just maybe, it's time we start asking some tough questions about who benefits from keeping it this way. My name's Tom Coffey. This is a Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. I'll be there. Oh. Okay. Sorry about that. I was running to grab my coffee. I forgot. Can't start the show without my mug of coffee. So cheers. Nice and hot. But that's the thing I wanted to talk about, is this idea. This idea that, and this came about from me doing my taxes. And I don't want to brag, But I'm not a dumb guy, okay? I have some advanced degrees. I like to consider myself bright. A lot of the sentences on these forms are ambiguous, and they use pronouns, and you don't know exactly what they're referring to. This could be done in a way. They should just hire somebody. Of course. That went out? Really? Oh, now it's back? Okay. They could hire somebody to go through and make sure that the instructions made sense. They could make sure that if it's like, eliminate that. And you go, well, what's that? I don't know, maybe put a parentheses and explain what you're talking about. If there's more than one thing, the way pronouns work is pronouns replace words that are longer, right? So if I'm saying like the weather is nice today, it's nice today, it is replacing the weather. In the case of our tax forms, there will often be pronouns and you don't know what it's referring to. It could be referring to one thing, but it could be referring to something else. It's very difficult to decipher. And they could hire somebody, maybe someone with Asperger's, some autistic person that goes through and just makes sure that it's clear. But they don't do that. And if they haven't done that year after year after year, you can conclude that they want it that way. They want it confusing. They want it convoluted. I think, they want us to fill these out with TurboTax online. They want us to just fill it out online. And so, therefore, they make everything so difficult to do otherwise. They're going to punish you. And that's their incentive to have you do it online. I don't know. And you may say, that's a conspiracy. You can't prove that. But here's the case that I want to make. If something is designed intentionally bad and it's not fixed, it's designed to be that way. In the same way, I'll just give you an example, is here in Portland, we got people keep getting hit by cars. Now, the people that keep getting hit by cars, it's in the middle of the night typically, and it's somebody wearing all black, and they're high on drugs, and they get hit by someone coming home from a bar who's drunk. And that's kind of most of the time what happens. But instead, what the city's decided to do is put in crosswalks every 50 yards and put up these little, they're called wigwags here. And it has yellow blinking lights for the intersection. So if you want to cross the crosswalk, you hit the little button and the little wigwags go and to alert someone's in the intersection. Well, some of these are broken. There's one of these that's been broken since before COVID. It still blinks all day, all night, for years. They know that it's broken. They don't not know that it's broken. It's been blinking for years. And so I believe they have that one intentionally blinking because it gets people to slow down, and some people stop as a way of, to control traffic a bit. That's my speculation, but I'm not speculating. If something isn't fixed after years, that's the design. In the same way, our taxes are done in such a way, they're designed to be confusing. They're designed to not be clear. That's the only conclusion that you can come to when it stayed that way for decades, it seems. Anyway, we got a number of stories to get to today. I will be going through all of your comments in the after show, so stick around for that. But let's get to the first one, and we're talking about protesters. Yeah, so anti-Israeli protesters in Chicago shut down O'Hare Airport by blocking the highway, causing frustration for passengers. Demonstrators sat on the Kennedy Expressway, linked with PVC pipes, chanting slogans like "Palestine will be free" and "Stop genocide." Traffic was disrupted, and some passengers had to walk to the terminals. The protest, organized by Chicago dissenters, aimed to disrupt airport operations and Boeing's involvement in supporting Israel. Passengers expressed anger and clashed with protesters. Police presence was noted, but some criticized their inaction. Yeah. Protest reflects ongoing tension surrounding the Israel-Palestine conflict. So this is the kind of thing that happened, and just before I went live, I did see that I-5 here in Oregon is shut down. That's the big north-south freeway down by Eugene. And for the same thing, people are linked arms and they're all the way across. What's interesting, I haven't read the story yet because I just saw this, but the sheriff's department is behind them. I guess making sure that nobody gets mad and drives their car through the protesters. So it's as if the sheriff's department is protecting the protesters that are blocking the freeway. Speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless that the people that run the state, obviously, I don't think that the sheriff's department would be doing that unless they were getting instructions from their superiors. Now, that's all coming from politicians. But yes, they're shutting down the freeway. People can't get to their jobs. They can't get to the hospital. There could be someone trying to give birth. They're trying to get to the hospital. Someone could be dying. They can't get to the hospital. Ambulances can't get through because these a-holes are blocking traffic. I understand protest. I think that protest is necessary. We should allow protest. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well for one of these protesters or several of these protesters. Now, I don't know where it's going to be, but this kind of thing, you can push people only so long. And, yeah. And unless you're willing to die, I don't think standing in front of cars is a bright idea at all. So, anyway, so that's what's happening here in Oregon. It's happened out in Chicago. People probably miss their flights. And depending on, you know, the flight that you have, you could just be out of luck. You know, I know that when I traveled out of the country recently, and I didn't pay the extra amount so that I could have a refundable ticket. The ticket was on that day. If I was not able to get to the airport to make my flight, I'm out of luck. Yeah. So I don't know. But I wonder, why are we paying taxes if the taxes are supposed to protect the public, and instead it looks like it is protecting the people that are holding the public hostage? That's not hyperbole. Yeah, I can't wait to get out of this state. Anyway, next story. Oh, this is big news. Big news. So Trump's big story is starting. Big trial is going on right now. Trump's big trial. One of the, whatever. This one he's facing. Let's see. First day of trial for the alleged hush money payments, calling in political. He called it a political persecution, which is exactly what it is. The thing that I wonder about this is, it's legal to pay somebody hush money. That's not against the law. But anyway, they came up with 34 felony counts. He's accused of falsifying records to hide a sex scandal payout. Jury selection expected to last weeks involves screening for bias and will delve into media preferences and affiliations. Trump's participation is subject to a gag order. Potential consequences for misconduct. Prosecutors seek fines for social media posts targeting the judge. The trial revolves around $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels, with Trump's fixer claiming he was directed by Trump to make the payment. Does anyone believe that this would be a case if Trump were not running for president? This is quite a big coincidence that we've got, all these cases, 91 charges or whatever they said it is. These all happened long ago, decades ago, many years ago, but somehow they're all coming to court the same year he's running for president. I mean, that's a crazy coincidence. Someone ought to go buy Powerball. Yeah, so obviously this is a political prosecution. I would, if anyone doesn't think that, and I know I named the channel Nuance because I'm supposed to be nuanced, but this is one of those things that, like, well, it's raining outside. Do you think I'll get wet? Like, it seems so obvious to me. I don't know what it would be like to believe that this were not a political prosecution. Wow. I guess I don't have the creativity to think what it would be like to be that naive or that under the thumb of the corporate media. But who knows? There's probably people in my own life that believe this, believe that. So anyway, that's the update. Maggie Haberman was on with Jake Tapper this morning, talking about how Trump may have dozed off during the trial. And I would say, if Trump is dozing off on this, it's probably really boring. Have you been to court? It's really long and boring. But they're making a big deal out of Trump maybe being a little sleepy. Has Maggie Haberman ever talked about Joe Biden in the same way? I haven't seen that, but I probably just missed that one. I probably just missed that time. Anyway, next up, let's talk about business news. There we go. Move that over there. There we go. That's even better. Okay. The closure of the 99 cents only stores has prompted a surge of merchandise listing on eBay, with sellers capitalizing on the brand's bankruptcy. Items such as reusable bags, employee vests, and gift cards are being sold at marked up prices far beyond their original 99-cent value. The influx of listings reflect the impending demise of the chain, as its CEO announced the closure of all 371 locations due to financial struggles. Now, despite this, efforts are underway to save some Southern California stores, with investors being sought to potentially acquire parts of the chain. So how about that? The 99 cents only store can't survive. What's happening in this economy? I get it. Now, it's always funny to me when they make stories about how things are listed on eBay and they're marked up. Because just because something's listed on eBay doesn't mean that people are actually buying these things on eBay, And if I had to come up with a story That's quite an easy one to come up with, right? I mean, you can manufacture this story. I'm not saying this story is manufactured, but it'd be very easy to manufacture a story like this. All you have to do, and you will see these stories repeat every month. They will pick something and talk about how it is listed on eBay for a price, but they never have a follow-up story to show what it actually sold for, or if it actually ever did sell. That's never a story. No. It's what they're being put on eBay for. So, for example, maybe there's a local ice cream store closing here in Portland, and I wanted to make a story about it. I would put a listing on eBay for an apron from the ice cream store or something like that, and for $400. And then I could write a story about how there's a listing on eBay for an apron for $400 for this ice cream store that's going out of business. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but this isn't real news. I'm bringing it up as an example of how much fake news that you're getting all the time. And once you see it, it's hard to unsee. And so what I'm telling you today is the idea of merchandise being listed on eBay for insane prices, but we never find out if it actually ever sold. Yeah, that's what happens. Anyway, so that's something to be on the lookout for. It's kind of fun once you notice it. I guarantee within a month there will be another story about maybe a brand, a store's merchandise, something like that, being sold on eBay for an insane amount of money within 1 month. Mark it. So today's the 15th. So let's say by May 15th, I should have a follow-up. And let's see what story's next. It was 99 cents only store today. What's going to be next? All right. And this is kind of interesting story. This is something else to think about. So, Stonehenge, right? We all know Stonehenge. I love speculation about Stonehenge, and they always say, "Oh, like the article that I'm referencing here, Stonehenge's mystery finally solved with breathtaking 3D acoustic model." It's like you're not really solving it; you're just coming up with more speculation that you think might be true. You just got another theory. Well, here's another theory, and I think it's a fun theory. Because there's a lot of crap news today I'm trying to avoid. Researchers created a scaled-down 3D model of Stonehenge to explore its acoustic properties and shed light on ancient ceremonies. Using laser scans, they crafted replicas of the stones and additional elements to mimic the original structure. Through testing, they found that the model contains transmitted sounds from a brief duration, enhancing vocal clarity and instrument resonance. The absence of echoing suggests potential acoustic chamber-like attributes, possibly enhancing auditory experiences for ceremonial and funerary purposes. The study offers new insight into how Stonehenge might have been used in prehistory, suggesting intimate events within the stone circle. So, here's a little drawing of Stonehenge and what it may have looked like when it was surrounded. Now, have you ever been to those? Sometimes they'll have them in parks. They actually have this down in Portland downtown, where there's some circles, going up. And if you stand in a certain spot, you can hear your voice echo. It's kind of cool. It's a cool little auditory trick. Auditory phenomenon, if you will. It's kind of fun. There was a place in Dallas, I remember. There was a park that was set up that had one concave circle and then another one far away. And if you had two people and they stood in the exact spots, they could whisper and they could hear the other person. But if you stepped 1 foot in any direction, you couldn't hear it. But if you were standing in that exact spot, you could whisper to somebody like 30 yards away, and they could hear you perfectly. And I think that's kind of fun, these auditory phenomenons. But with Stonehenge, what they're suggesting is that not only, it was lined up so that on the summer solstice, the sun would come through and hit the headstone or the temple stone or whatever it was called, perfectly. But not only that, by having the pillars and having spaces between the pillars, you could maybe have music inside the circle, but the music then wouldn't travel outside of the circle. Or maybe the drums, because the drums have a deeper sound, and the spacing of the stones was such that the drum sound would not escape between the rocks, because the sound wave was too big for that. And so you could get in the middle there, play drums really loud, and you wouldn't be hearing the drums in the surrounding community. It's just speculation. It's just another idea. Or, as they say here, mystery finally solved. or it's just another theory. But that's kind of fun to think about. And to me, it seemed like a little more positive story. Speaking of positive stories, I got one last fun story for you today. So, the Lads 500 event, organized at Lads Circle Park in Portland, saw hundreds of cyclists and cycling enthusiasts gather for a peculiar activity, riding around the park in circles for hours. There's no registration required. It was a free relay event, which attracted participants on various types of bikes, unicycles, tall bikes, roller skates, and more. And this is pretty hilarious. There's a roundabout in the middle of Lads Edition, which is a little neighborhood in Portland, which is it's a round circle. It's not that big. And so they've been having this silly relay race for a number of years. 500 laps. Yeah, 500 laps. Some people do it solo, but what they ask is if you're going to do the 500 laps solo, you have to change your bike, every so many laps. I don't know how they keep track of the whole thing. It's just a silly event. I don't think the winner, though, is for who does it the fastest. I think you get awards for who's having the most fun. Kind of participation prizes and things like that. But it's just a silly, fun activity. And that could be inspirational to you. Maybe you live in a place and you want to come up with something stupid like this. And I mean stupid in a good way. This doesn't hurt anyone. It's a little tiny neighborhood. It's not like it's getting a lot of traffic going through there. So, you're not tying up any traffic at all. And, they just close down the area and they let people ride around the little roundabout all afternoon for fun. I think it's hilarious. And, maybe you live in a little town or a city and you want to start an event like this. Go for it. I say always, we only got one shot at this thing, right? In life, as far as I know. So if you want to come up with a silly event, do it once a year. I think you could have a lot of fun. And not only that, is if you come up with a silly event like this, then it gets bigger and bigger every year. And now you've created something that's free that lots of people can go enjoy and have a good time and do something different. So let this be the inspiration for you. Maybe someone will be inspired and they'll make their own funny event. That's my hope anyway. That's all I have prepared, but stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments and all that good stuff. But that's all I've got done today. I've been working on my taxes, just about done. my federal taxes. I still have to do my state. Why are the state forms longer than the federal forms? Why? Right? That doesn't make sense either. But anyway, that's what I got to get to. But hope you all are having a great afternoon. Stick around for the after show. I'll be back on Wednesday with a Big Idea Wednesday. See you then. Peace. All right. Hey, throw $1 in the all right jar. What's up, Apothecary John, Erie Fairy, Lucid, Flame On, that's right. Hey, everybody. Lucid says, taxation is theft. You know, I wish, I understand the argument for taxation is theft. I'm just a stickler for definitions. And for me, it's not technically theft. To me, it's more like extortion. I could really get behind it if it was like taxation is extortion. But theft, I don't know. That's one of the problems that I had. That was the original thing that turned me off from libertarianism. Is I'm like, oh, what's libertarianism? And I say, oh, they say taxation is theft. And I'm like, well, it's not. It's not really theft. It's more like extortion. So, but I get it. I'm a stickler for definitions, and I know not everybody is. Are the protesters using the police, or is the government using the protesters? Good question. Good question. Hey, what's up, Doug? Peace, thumbs up, and smiles. I like that. Hey, what did I mean? Come to Tennessee. It's nice here today, Tom. Well, thank you. I've never been to Tennessee. Not sure if it was true, but saw a letter signed by Stormy that the affair never happened, and it was dated 2011 with her signature addressed to whom it may concern. Yeah, I think there's been a number of those things, but that doesn't matter. Like, that would be if this were a legit case, and clearly it's not. You know, even when you think of like getting a trial by your peers, do you think New York City, which is very, 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 very blue, do you think that that's fair for a Republican, especially a Republican politician? Do you think you could get a fair shot in New York City? And if you say, oh yeah, of course you can get a fair shot, just as a thought experiment, let's just say, okay, would the result be any different if that trial took place in, let's say, Tennessee? And if you say, oh yeah, it would be a very different outcome if it were in Tennessee, then that's kind of evidence that the jury in New York is also going to be biased. You know, there's been a lot of talk about OJ the last couple of days because OJ passed away. And I really think that was such an eye-opener for anyone that paid attention to the reactions from people when that happened, if you were alive at that time. I remember, you know, you saw the reaction. I think Oprah was carrying it live or something like that. It's all a blur. But you saw the reaction of the people in the audience, and half the audience was shocked, and the other half of the audience was smiling, jumping up and down, dancing and laughing and celebrating the OJ trial acquittal, I guess, or result, whatever you want to call it. It all depends on the jury. It all depends on the jury. Now, with OJ, for example, there wasn't a single white guy on that jury, right? And But there were a number of women, and what the prosecution, I think, thought, like, oh, this guy's known for being a domestic abuser, et cetera, et cetera. Women are not going to not convict him for that. But I don't think they took into account the racial element to that. Very, very weird thing. But I don't see how Trump could get a fair trial. I just don't. To me, this looks like a political prosecution. And I don't want to see what happens if they convict him. I don't think it's going to be a good result. I don't know. Let's see. Hashtag better on Rumble. What's up? Hey, Rev68. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. What's up, Ox? Howdy. It's legal to pay hush money. You buy their story. However, it is illegal to blackmail someone. So why no blackmail charges? Because that's just how it works. The blackmailer is not running for office. You know? There is a 99-cent store and up. Nothing is less than 99 cents. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, these prosecutions are a total corrupt misuse of our taxes. I agree with you there, Tobias. Taxes are designed to be convoluted. That's no conspiracy. Tax loopholes get written in by big donors to lobbyists. Accounting association profits from it. Filing is like its own tax on time. Oh yeah, filing on your own is like a tax on your time. I agree. They could really simplify the tax code. I don't know. I think the whole thing should be scrapped and we start again. But we probably won't have to do that because there's probably a incoming implosion of the house of cards that we're living in right now. I don't see how this system goes on that much longer. Ox says, we had an auditory circle outside of my university. I think it was set up like for small plays or musical projection. Yeah, is that as well. It's like the old school outdoor amphitheater, and when they're designed in such a way, the acoustics make it such that you could play live music and sing, and you could do that without amplification. That was kind of one of the purposes, because these were designed before electricity. And so there's a lot to that. Taxation is armed robbery. I would that's closer to theft. I still think it's extortion, and with the threat of violence, right? You go to jail for not doing taxes. It's not like you can call it your choice. No, absolutely not. Jury by Trump's peers. Is George W. Bush on the jury? Who qualifies for his peer group? Well, that's the thing. We always talk about, everybody's obsessed with diversity. But if you are on trial in a place where 90-something% of the people are Democrats and you're a Republican and it's known, I don't know how you're going to get, especially if you've had the media telling the public that, this guy's a dictator. I don't know how you're going to get a fair trial. I don't. This is an insane effort to try to keep him from being president, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I think if he spends a day in jail, I don't think you're going to want to see what happens to the country. I think it'll tear the country apart. I'm not looking for that at all. Yeah. But yeah, I did see the thing that years ago, Stormy Daniels did state that it never happened. They could come back and argue that was signed under duress or something. I mean, obviously, if this were a legit court case, I don't think it would ever make it to trial, but this isn't the legit court case. Says me, legal expert, Tom Coffey. Stonehenge, another settled science. Yeah, exactly. Those blinking lights that don't shut off, keeping everyone safe. Yeah, and they flash all night long. They flash all night long. I remember one time there was a school zone, and it was broken, and the school zone was flashing forever, right? But the sign is, speed limit 15 when lights are flashing. And so I was still reluctant to not slow down, even if it were like on the weekend. It's like it's a trap. It's kind of what it felt like. Before his controversy, he was a good actor and football player. I didn't know about a good actor. He was an actor. He was a popular person. But I remember OJ as a kid. I remember that he played for the Buffalo Bills, but it was a little bit before my time. I don't remember ever seeing OJ play. Kind of, I think, after his career was done, then he started doing commercials and then acting in various TV shows and making appearances and whatnot in some comedy movies and different movies and whatnot. That was more for me, because I don't remember him ever playing football. That was a tad before my time. But he's gone now, so there we go. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all your comments. I appreciate that very much. And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday. Hope to see you then. If you like this, go ahead. Smash the like button. Why not? Why not? Doesn't cost a thing. Makes me feel good. Don't you want me to feel good, especially on a day like today? I gotta get back to doing my state taxes now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, hope you all have a great one. I will see you next time. Until then, peace.